Hey guys, what's going on? My name's Justin and welcome back to the channel. So this past week, for the first time in history, the price of US oil closed at a negative price. On Tuesday, the price of oil was an astonishing negative $37.63 per barrel. But that doesn't mean the gas stations are going to be paying you to fill up. So make sure you take your wallet with you when you go to the gas station, because you'll need it. Also on Tuesday, savvy investors on Robinhood and Sofi Invest were buying large amounts of the United States Oil Fund ETF, USO, in an effort to cash in on this negative oil craze. But is this a good strategy? Is USO the best way to make money as the price of oil rebounds, or are there alternative investment strategies that are much more profitable? Well, in this video, I will talk about some alternative oil stocks you can buy now that have massively outperformed USO over the last couple of months. So if you're interested in learning more about why I do not recommend investing in USO, let me know in the comments and I can make a dedicated video about USO because it's a very confusing ETF that requires a lot of explanation. But the main problem with USO is that it does not track the current day-to-day price of oil, but instead tracks the future price of oil. This makes it susceptible to contango and roll costs. Basically what this means is that on Tuesday, investors who bought USO were actually paying $22 per barrel when oil was actually worth negative 37. So, for any of you watching this video who bought USO last week as a long-term investment, you need to sell it. USO is only meant for investors who plan on holding it for a short period of time and who understand the complexities of how the fund operates. So again, I do not recommend you buy USO if you're an average retail investor, but don't worry, because in this video, I will talk about a better way to make money off of the oil crash. So don't go anywhere and make sure you watch all the way to the end because I really think this is going to be an informational and informative video. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button because you don't want to miss out on any of these videos that I make because they're full of information and I put so much research into these videos that, you know, I'm doing you guys a favor. I'm helping you. So make sure to subscribe. Okay, so which oil-related stocks do I recommend? Before we can discuss investment strategies, we need to understand what is going on. So how did we get to negative oil prices? Well, the easiest way to explain it all is by looking at it from a perspective of cause and effect events. The primary cause of low oil prices stems from a lack of demand due to the coronavirus pandemic. Global oil demand has fallen by about 30% as fewer and fewer people are traveling right now. So again, the root cause of all of this is a lack of demand. Now, we are all familiar with how supply and demand economics works. And if you're not, here's a quick overview. If the supply of a thing is much greater than the demand for that thing, then the price of the thing will drop. And that is basically what we are seeing right now around the world. The supply of oil has stayed the same while the demand has dropped significantly. Therefore, the simple solution would be to stop producing extra oil. However, shutting down oil wells is not an easy thing to do. The process of shutting down an oil well is called a shut-in, and it can cause damage to the oil reservoirs, and it can also permanently reduce oil output once the well is started back up. So obviously this is something that oil producers want to avoid. And the effect of oil producers refusing to decrease production means that the extra oil has to be stored somewhere. But since oil is a toxic, volatile compound, it has to be stored in a special way, and there's only a limited amount of oil storage available in the US. So what happened on Tuesday was that the storage facilities for oil became completely full. That meant oil producers had nowhere to store their extra oil and that they had to pay oil storage companies to store their oil for them. To better understand the oil storage shortage, we have to understand something about the oil markets, and that is that they are priced based on location. For US oil, the benchmark is WTI crude oil, which stands for West Texas Intermediate Oil. An overwhelming majority of WTI crude oil is delivered to Cushing, Oklahoma, which is a landlocked state that is 500 miles from the ocean. The significance of this is that once the storage at Cushing is full, the oil must be stored somewhere else. And right now, most of it is being stored in oil tankers off the coast of California, Texas, and Florida. However, Normally, this does not need to be done since there's plenty of storage space in Cushing for WTI crude oil. The hub in Cushing features the greatest amount of commercial oil storage in the US with an estimated ability to store 76.1 million barrels of oil. But, like we mentioned earlier, because of the massive oversupply of oil, Cushing became completely full this past week on Tuesday. And when this happened, there were no longer any buyers for the oil. This meant that oil traders had to frantically search for other storage options. In fact, oil traders and producers were so desperate to find storage for their excess oil, right now they are paying upwards of $350,000 per day for massive oil tankers to hold their excess oil. They're doing this in hopes that they can sell it to refineries later in the year for a profit. Now that we know what is happening here, this presents some interesting opportunities. Investment opportunities, that is. Theoretically, if you had a storage container in Cushing, Oklahoma that could store 100,000 barrels of oil, you could have made $3.7 million. Because again, oil traders and producers would have had no other option but to pay you to store their oil for them. Unfortunately, most people do not have the ability to buy and store oil, so this option is off the table. But a great way to profit off of negative oil is to buy shares of oil tanker companies. Companies such as Nordic American Tankers, Scorpio Tankers, and Teekay Tankers were all up over 100% on average since late February and March. And with no end in sight to the coronavirus pandemic, there is reason to believe that these companies could go even higher over the next couple of months. So there you guys have it. That is my recommendation for taking advantage of the negative oil prices we are experiencing right now. The other strategy you could use would be to short sell shares of USO, but I didn't get into that in this video because it's quite complicated and most investors on Robinhood don't have the ability to trade options anyways. The bottom line is that successful investing in the oil industry is not as straightforward or simple as you might think. And I really think that most investors are better off directing their money into other investments outside of the oil industry. However, buying shares of oil tanker companies is something that I would consider doing, and I don't think it's a bad way to try and turn a quick profit off of this. That being said, once the demand for oil stabilizes, the shares of the oil tanker companies will probably drop. So this is probably best used as a short-term investment strategy over the next couple of months. So guys, I know this was a complicated video and some of you might still have questions. So if you have any questions for me, please make sure to leave a comment below and I will make sure to respond to you and answer any of those questions that you have. Like I said, I love doing research, and this video, I spent like 2 or 3 days of doing research 8 to 10 hours a day just so I can understand this, because I don't really invest in the oil industry and oil related stocks. I tend to stay out of that, but this was an awesome video for me to learn about the oil industry and to learn about how it operates. And so I'm really excited that I got to make this video, and hopefully you guys got some value out of this video as well. So if you got value out of this video, don't forget to smash that subscribe button so you can be notified whenever I post a new video. And with that being said, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.